mean, I want you to explain, again, Shavuot, this is why this is important, because what was the first words shouted down from the mountain to the congregation of Israel, shaking in fear at the base of this mountain that is quaking? Fire is on the mountain. The people are standing in fear and awe. And what are the first words that they hear?
Anochi Yehovah Elohecha asher hotziticha me'eretz Mitzrayim mibeit avadim. The first word is Anochi, I am, and the second word is Yehovah, God's name.
The revelation on Mount Sinai is, I am Yehovah. I mean, Yehovah. We should say it to where the mountains shake. I am Yehovah.
And if you read the story closely, what it says is, when did they hear these words? There was a shofar that they were hearing. And I don't know that it was a shofar on earth. It could have been a heavenly shofar. And it says, when the sound of the shofar blew long, then they heard the words. So imagine there's this fire, and all of a sudden they heard, woo, and out of there somewhere they hear, Anochi Yehovah. Now recently, Michael, I rewatched the movie, The Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston. And I was stunned because I hadn't really paid attention to the detail. They completely distort the central point of the entire movie, which is that God spoke to 2 to 3 million Israelites. So we're told it's 600,000 men, and then there's another, they say for every man, there was 4 or 5 women and children. So somewhere around 2 to 3 million people, God spoke to them directly. They heard his actual voice out of the fire. Anochi Yehovah, I am Yehovah. They heard those 10 commandments. And the way they portray it in the Ten Commandments movie with Heston is only Moses hears those, and then he goes and conveys them to the people. Well, that's the exact opposite of what it says. After hearing the 10 Commandments, the people say, okay, that's what it's like to hear God's voice directly. Now you go get the rest for us. And what's the rest? The rest is everything from the end of Exodus 20 through Deuteronomy 34, right? It's all the other commandments that are conveyed in the Torah. It's not the actual 10 Commandments. And what's interesting, Michael, is, so what are the 10 Commandments? And if you ask Catholics, they'll give you a different answer than Protestants. The Jewish understanding of the 10 Commandments.
And the Samaritans, they have a different one, too.
Well, they've got an 11th one. I'm talking about where you're reading the same exact text, but you're counting them differently. So the second commandment for Jews is, Lo yelecha Elohim acharim, you shall not have other gods upon my face or before me. So what's the first commandment? The first commandment is, I am Yehovah, your God. That is the first commandment. If we can't accept that first commandment, all the rest fall apart. So we first have to accept that Yehovah is our God, the same God who took us out of the land of Egypt, and then everything else falls into place with that. So look, this has been my obsession for the last 20 years or so, to try to find out that name that he spoke from the burning bush. And look, that's what we're told in the burning bush. We read it earlier. Exodus 3:15 is he reveals his name, Yehovah. This is my name forever. This is my mention for generation to generation. And then in Exodus 3:12, 3 verses earlier, he had said, this is the sign that it's I who's really speaking to you. When I take the people of Israel out of Egypt, they'll come and worship me at this mountain. And what are the first two words he said to them at the mountain? Anochi, I am Yehovah. The same thing he revealed to Moses. His name, he then reveals to the entire people of Israel at the mountain.
Shalom, Torah fans. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend. Tap the subscription button and the bell icon. And I promise to update weekly with in-depth biblical research. Be sure to download the new michaelrood.tv app for both mobile and home devices for even more commercial-free content.